So I mentioned the upcoming presidential election in Mexico on Sunday when we were talking about women's rights and indigenous rights in Mexico. Um, there's been a winner, Claudia Sheinbaum, I believe. She is the first woman president of Mexico. But not only that, she is the first Jewish president of Mexico. Here's an article from NBC News. Claudia Steinman didn't just make history when she was elected Mexico's first female president. She will also be the first Jewish president in a country with one of the largest Catholic populations in the world. Though she's not religiously observant, Scheinbaum identifies as culturally Jewish and has spoken about her heritage in the past. I grew up without religion. That's how my parents raised me, Scheinbaum, 61, said in 2018 at a gathering hosted by a Jewish organization in Mexico City, but obviously the culture, that's in your blood. Her maternal grandmothers were Jews who immigrated to Mexico from Bulgaria before the Holocaust, while her paternal grandparents had fled from Lithuania in the 1920s. Scheinbaum's parents were born in Mexico. While campaigning, Scheinbaum said she considered herself a woman of faith, but is not religiously affiliated. Perhaps that's why there's been relatively little discussion about her becoming Mexico's first Jewish president. Tessie Schlosser, historian and director at the Mexico Jewish Documentation and Research Center in Mexico City, said that for Mexicans of Jewish heritage, approval and expectations of Scheinbaum's government seem to align more with her personal political preferences than with her Jewish ancestry. Even Jewish newspapers in Mexico mostly focus on her historic win as the first woman to lead the country, barely mentioning her Jewish background. Scheinbaum, whose ancestors immigrated to Mexico, escaping poverty and anti-Semitism, including the Holocaust, grew up in a secular, science-driven household. She doesn't perform her Jewish identity in public, said author and Amherst University humanities professor Ilan Stavans, who is also Mexican and Jewish and has written extensively about the Jewish diaspora in Latin America. Scheinbaum was a physicist and a climate scientist before she went into politics. Her father was a chemical engineer, and her mother was a cell biologist. Still, Scheinbaum's ascent to the presidency is significant, Stavans said. The election of Claudia Steinman as Mexico's first female Jewish president is a benchmark for the Jews of Latin America, whose presence in the region goes back to the arrival of Columbus and his crew at the end of the 15th century, Stavans said. Her election has opened a door towards a greater understanding of the history of Jews in Mexico, especially after local political figures used her heritage to launch attacks against Scheinbaum, questioning whether she was born in Mexico or was even Mexican. An estimated 50,000 Jewish people in Mexico. The majority are settled in Mexico City and its surroundings, with small communities in the cities of Monterrey, Guadalajara, Tijuana, Cancun, San Miguel del Allende, and Las Cabas. The first Jews arrived in Mexico in 1519, along with the Spanish colonization. The community began to grow substantially by the early 20th century as thousands of Jews fled from the Ottoman Empire to escape instability and anti-Semitism. The Mexican Jewish community is formed by Ashkenazi Jews from Central and Eastern Europe and Sephardic Jews, mainly from Turkey, Greece, Italy, Spain, and Syria. Jewish identities encompass many areas, including cultural, not just religious. Under these parameters, although Scheinbaum is not part of the organized Jewish community, her family history is part of Mexican Jewish tradition and history, as she herself assumes. Schlosser said in Spanish. Mexican remains overwhelmingly Christian, with nearly 100 million Catholics and 4 million Protestants, according to a 2020 census. Scheinbaum's win will come at a critical time as the war between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip has displaced more than 100 million Palestinians and left more than 50,000 people dead, according to officials in Gaza. Since the beginning of the war, last time, Scheinbaum has condemned attacks on civilians. She even called for a ceasefire and said she supported a two-state solution. Her stance echoes views she wrote in 2009 a letter to the editor of La Jornada, a Mexican newspaper, condemning what Scheinbaum described as the murder of Palestinian civilians during an Israeli bombing campaign in the Gaza Strip. Her loyalties are with the oppressed and the downtrodden. In the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, she sides with the former without rejecting the latter, favoring a two-state solution, which these days appears more untenable than in recent months, Stavans said. Okay, well, that was a lot of information. But big day for Mexico. Um, free cheers for Mexico for breaking both barriers for Jewish people in Mexico and women in Mexico. We love to see a world where, even women can become president of countries. Still too few and far between, I would say, but it's about time America elect a woman president, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But I think it shows that I like to think we're making some moral progress, quote unquote. I mean, I like to think we're, over time, people's prejudices are declining. And I think, for a Jewish woman to be president to get elected to the presidency in a predominantly Catholic country, I think that's a big step. I mean, they mentioned instability and anti-Semitism in the Ottoman Empire, but Catholicism has been rampant with anti-Semitism for centuries. I mean, the Catholic Church has not done well when it comes to the Jewish community. It's also good to see that she's pro-Palestine. Seems like a lot of the best pro-Palestinian activists are Jewish people, interesting enough. But she's on the right side of history on that one. I don't know a great deal about her domestic politics. I'll have to look into that more. But all in all, like I said, good day for Mexico. Good day for women's rights. Good day for the rights of the Jewish community. I don't know. I said rights. It's a good day for those communities, is what I'm trying to say. I guess is the expression. Well, this is mainly for women, I think, but the glass ceiling has been broken, so to speak, in Mexico. And yeah, we'll see what kind of president she is going forward. Not much else to say, I guess.